Hello, everybody. Welcome to Ask Amvets. My name is Paul Shipley. I'm the National 3rd Vice Commander for Ambits. And I'm happy to come before you today to get this opportunity to answer some questions that everybody's had about what's going on with legislative and Ambets. So let's get right down to it. First question I have tonight is, what is Ambets doing to bring awareness about POW MIA and the efforts to bring them home? And that's from Gene in Illinois. Well, Gene, the prisoners of war and missing in action is something that Ambets is incredibly passionate about, and it's something that we've worked really, really hard on in the past few years. Most notably, we've taken over the Rolling to Remember event in DC. The legendary Amvets riders have been leading the way for this event, and I'm happy to say that it will be happening again on May 29th, 2022. It is and will continue to be the largest single-day motorcycle event on Earth, and Ambets has taken that lead. One other thing that we've done is we've added in veteran suicide into this mix. So all of the veterans whose families have thought of them as being forgotten, we're bringing them to the front and center. And I feel just as importantly, all the veterans that are feeling lost at home, that feel forgotten, we're working really, really hard to bring them to the forefront also. Because as we all know, veteran suicide is an epidemic. And I don't think that the VA is doing enough at this point to solve that solve that problem. And we're going to keep putting the pressure on them to do that. I think it's important because I've mentioned it now. If you're contemplating suicide, please get help. The Veteran Suicide Hotline is 1-800-273-8255, press 1. Or you can send a text anonymously to 838-255. These aren't perfect solutions because they're still a little bit long numbers, but let me tell you what, we are working towards a national 3-digit number for suicide hotlines. And when that day comes, we'll be in a much better position. That number is 1-800-273-8255, press 1. I also want to say that keeping the pressure on for the POW MIAs, on the Rolling to Remember website, www.rollingtoremember.com, we have a list of all of the congressmen here in DC that do not display the POW MIA flag. And we've really seen some results on getting them to remember our fallen, to remember our lost, to remember our ones that have not made way home. And that is something that this organization, and I believe Commander Hune's right there with me on stating, we will keep the pressure up on the administration until they're all home. Let's move on. Let's see what another question we have here today is. What is Amvets' top priority as far as veterans issues? Well, I think I've just said it right there. Veteran suicide and mental health still remains to be our primary focus on legislation. Mental health is huge. If we can get the best treatment and care for our veterans, then by all means, we will reduce the suicidality in veterans. We will make it easier for them to get access to the mental health care they need, and it won't just be throw pills at you and move. It'll be true treatment. The latest legislative efforts that we're backing for this, well, one of the biggest things that we backed was the John Scott Hanon Veterans Mental Health Care Improvement Act, which has passed. A brief summary of that bill. It's a comprehensive bill that seeks to improve VA mental health care by improving care during transition, providing suicide prevention resources, launching programs and studies on mental health, increasing oversight of VA's mental health care and suicide prevention efforts, and enhancing the VA medical workforce and telehealth services. This legislation provides $174 million over the next 5 years to state and local organizations that provide suicide prevention services to veterans and their families. Money that is truly needed at that grassroots level. In part, the Hanon Act creates a grant fund that will allow up to $750,000 to be awarded to community organizations, the nonprofits that are right on the ground front that are doing the work that so many of us don't have the ability to do. It will help to fund them to make these organizations able to continue to operate. This legislation includes dozens of measures in addition to those grant programs. One requires the VA to establish a plan for boosting its mental health staff. Another creates a scholarship program to increase the staff at vet centers. If you've never heard of the VA Vet Center program, please look at them. They are great mental health clinics that are out in the communities that help veterans every day. My home post, Ambets Post 103 in Hopwood, PA, the Vet Center comes down to our post once a week and hosts group therapy sessions there. So please find ways to work with them to improve veterans' mental health. There are also several measures to increase research in mental health problems and suicidality. The VA is going to be asked to research things like the hyperbaric oxygen chamber therapy, as well as the possibility that living at high altitudes increases suicide risk. And in Section 203 of the legislation, it requires the VA to start a pilot program to provide veterans access to complementary and integrative health programs, such as animal therapy, equine therapy, that we have a few posts in the Northeast working towards now, agri-therapy, helping those veterans return to the ground, be able to make living things, sports and recreation therapy, getting out and being able to talk with other veterans that have shared experiences with them, giving them the opportunity to talk in a safe place and be able to move forward. Art therapy, being able to put these thoughts and emotions down on paper. It's very therapeutic. And one of the biggest things that Ambets has pushed in the past few years, post-traumatic growth programs. Being able to help a veteran after they've had these traumas, or worse, these polytraumas. Veterans have been deployed numerous times in the past 20 years that we've been at war. And the VA is authorized to provide up to $180 million per year in grants for nonprofit organizations to help with this effort. And I think one of the things that's best about this bill is it mandates the GAO office, the Government Accountability Office, and the VA Office of Inspector Generals to initiate investigations into a host of issues, including one on the VA mental health workforce and others on the VA vet centers, and to really gauge the effectiveness of the agency's suicide prevention outreach. These watchdogs are there and they serve a vital purpose to look at how the VA departments handle veterans who are at risk for suicide, as well as, prescription medications and suicide rates. This bill has passed, but it's our priority now to not only see that since it's passed, to make sure that it's fully implemented, to make sure that the VA does what they have been told to by Congress. Getting the legislation passed was one. Now it's time for us to move on to the post-passage phase and make sure that our VAs are doing what this law requires. And finally, they're going to be required to create a website that can be a centralized source for female veterans. Female veterans. They have unique healthcare needs. They have unique mental health needs. Things that have often been kind of swept under the carpet at the VA. But this will have a place on the forefront where they can go and find the resources and the treatments that their unique needs require. Moving on. Lisa from Indiana asks about Military Justice Improvement Act. Looking at this, the Vanessa Gillen Act that has been proposed under the past two Congresses has been attached to the National Defense Authorization Act, the NDAA, and it looks like it will have a passing date in December. That is what all the projections say. That is what the goal is, to see this thing passed and through. It will provide accountability. It'll provide support. And overall, it will improve the aspect for military justice. And that leads us to military sexual trauma. A huge victory was had today for the victims of military sexual trauma. I'm going to read from an excerpt from an article that was put out today that has a quote from our executive director in it. Tester Murkowski renewed legislative push to support survivors of military sexual trauma. Senate Veterans Affairs Committee Chairman John Tester from Montana and U.S. Senator Lisa Murkowski from Alaska reintroduced the bipartisan, bicameral legislation this week to improve military sexual trauma survivors' access to benefits and health care, as well as bolster MST claims processing. The Service Members and Veterans Empowerment and Support Act of 2021 would modify the burden of proof for survivors applying for VA disability benefits, given that many assaults during military service went unreported, so that MST survivors can have equal access to the benefits and care that they have earned. The bill would also ensure all former Guard and Reserve members can receive MST-related care and counseling from the Department of Veterans Affairs, the Veterans Health Administration. Chairman Tester said this: as a nation, we have a duty to provide those who experience sexual assault or harassment during their military service with access to the highest quality care and services available. Our bipartisan bill will ensure MST survivors who have endured the unimaginable have access to the resources they need to address their trauma, starting with a stronger voice in the claims process and ensuring the best healthcare options are made available at VA. Longtime advocates for strengthening benefits and care for MST survivors, Senators Tester and Murkowski and Congressman Pingree, introduced the Servicemen, Veterans and Empowerment Support Act in 2017. Again in 2019, that was building on the Ruth Moore Act from the previous Congresses. But following the two reports from the VA's Office of Inspector Generals earlier this year, they moved to introduce the Servicemen and Veterans Empowerment Act in the 117th Congress. Amvets Executive Director Joe Chinelli stated, the effects of untreated MST can be devastating to the overall health of veterans, and in the transition, successful transitioning back home into their families and communities. Senator Tester and Murkowski's Service Member and Veterans Empowerment and Support Act will require the VA to have specially trained claims raters processing MST-related benefits claims and ensuring that more mental health diagnoses related to MST qualify for VA service-connected benefits. MST is a heinous crime, which is a disgrace to all of those who have wore the uniform of the armed services, and is hopeful that upon passage of this bill, the VA will be able to better assist survivors in the many ways that they need it. I can't say it better than Joe said right there. The injustice that is done to the victims of MST throughout the branches of the United States military, it's something that, while we can't take back the actions that have been done to them, we can do everything we can to mitigate the effects that those actions have on them. Sorry, I get a little bit angry when I think about that, as many of you do also. And I am so glad that we've been able to take these steps to move forward to truly assist the survivors of these heinous acts. Okay, another question. How can Ambits learn more about legislation on Capitol Hill? As many of you already receive the weekly updates and the newsletter, some of you still don't. Our great Ambets legislative team puts together a weekly newsletter titled the Ambets Weekly Legislative Update. And I truly, truly believe that every Ambet should be receiving this update because it leads you to being able to understand what kind of advocacy and what kind of legislative we are pushing on Capitol Hill on the days that we can't be here. If you send a message to this group right now with your email address, we'll get you added to that email list, and we will gladly get you hooked up so that you're getting that weekly message. We've been putting more and more resources in it also. A couple of weeks ago, we shared the ability for you to find who your congressmen are. And in the future, we're going to be able to do more things so that we can speak as a unified voice of Ambets. When we need a grassroots effort, we'll be able to mobilize and really be able to make the great changes that we need to. Here's another question. Does Amvets support VA-sponsored dental care for veterans? That's a great question. As many of you know, the VA has notoriously not provided dental care for veterans for pretty much its entire existence. Now, that's not to say when you have a service-connected disability, the VA does have dental clinics that can provide care for your service-connected conditions. Or if you're fortunate enough to be taking advantage of the vocational rehab program, they can cover your dental needs. But every other service-connected veteran, every other veteran that receives medical care, it's not provided. So we've been pushing hard. We've been working with Senator Bernie Sanders' staff on this issue. Earlier this week, Sanders introduced the Veterans Dental Care Eligibility Expansion Enhancement Act of 2021. This bill will eliminate the current eligibility restrictions for VA dental care and expand eligibility to all veterans receiving VA health care. It will also work to address the shortage of dentists in the U.S. by incentivizing dental school enrollment and service to our nation's veterans, and ensure the VA maintains dental clinics in all states to meet the needs of veterans from all parts of the country. As many of you know, good dental health leads to good medical health, and good medical health leads to good mental health. So these things all form a synergy. So this will be a great step forward for veterans care with the dental care program here. If you would like to send a letter to your congressman that's titled the Veterans Dental Care Eligibility Expansion and Enhancement Act of 2021. All right. What's the latest on congressionally chartered 501c19 nonprofit organizations being allowed to accept tax-deductible donations? There is legislation sitting there right now, the Charitable Equity for Veterans Act. This is also a bicameral, bi-party, bipartisan piece of legislation. It's sponsored by Senator Cassidy from Louisiana, Senator Duckworth from Illinois. It's also sponsored in the House by Congressman Kind and Congressman Wenstrup. This is something that I can't say loudly enough, Amvets, please reach out to your local congressman. We need more co-sponsors for this bill, both on the Senate and the House floors. The more co-sponsors, the easiest it'll go through to pass. This will allow your local posts to accept tax-deductible donations. I can't tell you how many doors that will open for you on the donation side. It'll truly be a benefit for your posts. That is the Charitable Equity for Veterans Act. Another question? What are you and Ambits doing about the congressional bill HR 172? This is the bill that's asking to make February 28th Desert Storm Veterans Day. This is from Michael in California. The information that we have right now is the bill was introduced in February of 2021 by Representative McNerney from California. As it looks right now, it's sitting in committee. As many of you know, sometimes these things will be brought forth and they end up in committee and they never get brought out. The way to get them out of committee is to send in letters, make phone calls to your congressman. That is the way for this thing to move forward. We need a message that's saying we have not forgotten the Desert Storm veterans. It's been 30 years. We haven't forgot them. The Shepherd's Crook, I believe it's called. The famous formation that they went in. And then just, 10 years later, we were fighting in that same desert. So please, once again, I can't stress this further. We need to get out and motivate our congressmen to help push forward these pieces of legislation. All right. Another question that we have here. Is Ambets supporting VA research into medical cannabis and the possible benefits it can provide veterans? Absolutely. We had a resolution passed this year at our national convention where we support the VA researching the benefits of medical cannabis and the possible benefits that it may have as both for mental health and as an opioid replacement. There are numerous studies that show that cannabis is not the harmful drug that it was made out to be for so long. It has positive benefits. It has been proven to have positive benefits. Now, often it's been thrown out that it's a gateway drug for further things. I personally do not believe that. And I believe that it has been shown that cannabis can have a positive effect on mental health when used properly. But I'm not the expert on that. We do have an expert here at Amvets. Our chief medical executive, Teresa Jackson, has been speaking about this very frequently. In fact, next Friday, October 27th, that'll be 5 days from now. So either way, October 27th, she is having her next Canna Chat. That'll be the second edition, where you'll be able to get the most up-to-date information about it. There are some pieces of legislative directly that we've worked to endorse. Senate 1467, the VA Medicinal Cannabis Research Act, and HR 2591, the Dump Opioids Act. As per your decision, your vote at National Convention, we are working hard to see if these pieces of legislation can get passed in Congress. So please tune in to Canna Chat next week and get the information so that you can better educate yourself on the benefits of cannabis. All right. Let's see if there's any more questions that have just come in. Veterans homelessness. I know this is a passion project for many of our members. And in a lot of ways, many pieces of legislation reach out to this. There should never be a reason for a veteran to remain homeless in the United States. So, with that being said, every VA hospital is required to have a homeless coordinator. They also have people that are experts in HUD-VASH, which is a program for HUD vouchers for veterans. Most major VA hospitals have a domiciliary program where you're able to get in and get help. And as well as direct assistance, the VA has contacts with local charities in the area. They have contacts with Amvets departments, Amvets posts, and all along the VSO platform to connect the veteran with the help that can best serve them. Sometimes it's just a little bit of help to get them over a hurdle. Sometimes it's a much more systemic issue that they have to overcome. So please connect them to the local VA to get the assistance that they need. There are people there. If you go online, va.gov, you can go right into the hospital section and it'll show you who the VA homeless coordinator is for that area and connect with them and get them out there. I know that there have been some really great things done by posts for homelessness. I know in California, they have a great program in Stockton. In Pennsylvania, they have a great program in Hanover Township. I've seen great things happening in Florida, Missouri, all across the United States, where Ambets are stepping up to eliminate veterans homelessness. So please, if you see anything that we can do better, let us know. If there's anything that we can improve on, or you see a piece of legislation coming across, write a resolution. Send it into your state so that it can come to our national convention so that we can support it. In the short term, send me an email, send me a link on here, send something to national headquarters that we can get this legislation looked at and get it put out. All right. Now here's something that's not really a legislative issue, but I can address it pretty easily. How do I start a new Ambets post? Well, while I will say the National First Vice Commander, Don McLean, is the membership officer for Ambets, I believe he would tell you the same thing I am telling you now. Either call national headquarters and talk to our membership coordinator, our membership directors, reach out to your local departments, your local posts. They can help you out with that also. But as a good starting point, go ahead and type something into our comments here today, or send an email to the email address that's posted on here. Or you can just call our headquarters and they can connect you with it. It's not a hard process. You need 10 new veteran members to get together and you can found the post. You can meet at a local restaurant, you can meet at another veterans post, or you can work to open your own building. But please, more veterans and more places getting together to help the purpose of Ambets. We welcome you to the family, and we will do everything we can to support you and keep you going. All right. What can veterans do better to learn about the Agent Orange presumptive conditions? Well, this year, there have been 3 new conditions added to the VA presumptives list. If you reach out to an Ambets National Service Officer or a state service officer, they can give you the most up-to-date information on this. But the conditions that are out there right now are bladder cancer, hyperthyroidism, and I apologize. Those are the two I know off the top of my head, but they've been added to the list right now. Get the full list here for you. The Parkinsonism. I apologize. In a lot of ways, a lot of these veterans will be getting, that have been previously denied for these conditions, will be getting a letter about that. If you get that letter, don't be shocked, but reach out to one of our service officers. You can get in contact with them on the National Headquarters Facebook page, or you can call the hotline. If you go to amvets.org, they can connect you with a service officer also and get these claims. Remember, filing a claim is not charity. This is an earned benefit. If you have lost a part of your health, if you have lost the ability to be employed because of your service, you deserve compensation from the Veterans Affairs Administration. It has not been an easy process to get these things through Congress to where we can work for them, where it's a system that, for the most part, works. Now, there have been hurdles, as you can ask any Vietnam veteran that has worked on Agent Orange. There have been hurdles for the Camp Lejeune Marines. There have been hurdles for the Gulf War veterans with Gulf War syndrome related things. Do not stop. Be persistent. But most importantly, get the help of a professional. We have highly trained service officers at the Ambets National Service Foundation that can assist you with a degree of expertise that is unmatched across all of VSOs. All right, moving on. The Veterans Disability Compensation Automatic COLA Act. A lot of people have asked some questions about this. What that means is that there will be an automatic increase in the cost of living adjustment every year. It always has had to been reauthorized by Congress. This would make it so that it's an automatic readjustment. It's a benefit. It's generally 2 to 3% every year that can really be helpful when you're talking about inflation. If there's never been a COLA increase, there would never be a growth in the disability claims. So please support that piece of legislation to help out. All right. What other questions do we have here today? Where can I get Amvets apparel and gear? Well, that'd be at the Amvets National Quartermaster, www.ambetsnationalquartermaster.com. Once again, not really in the legislative area, but I can answer that question for you. What else do we have going on here? How can I get involved with legislative advocacy at my department? Well, each department handles it in a different way. So the best thing that I could do would suggest that you talk to your state executive committee members or your department executive committee members from your posts and see what's going on in your state and how things are done. You know, never hurts to ask how I can help. So just reach out to them to help, or feel free to reach out to me. And I will gladly talk with anybody on how you can get involved to help with legislation here at the National. But most importantly, we are a ground up organization. So getting involved at the post leads to getting involved at the state, which leads to being able to be stronger in the nation. We have over 200,000 members. If we can speak as a unified voice, nobody would be able to deny our voice. All right. See another question here. All right, one that was just sent to me. Will we be forced to be vaccinated to keep our medical benefits with the VA? I have seen nothing to date that will require you to be vaccinated for the COVID vaccine. Personally, I have been vaccinated with the Moderna vaccine. It has been truly a blessing to me. I encourage you to get vaccinated, but it is your choice. I cannot tell you yes or no because that is your personal choice. But as I see right now, there is nothing in the VA requiring you to maintain your medical benefits. Now, if you are a VA employee, that is a mandate, that is a totally different thing. If your job requires you to do that, once again, that is not under the purview of the VA. But to keep your benefits, no, you will not be forced to have the vaccine, to my knowledge, at this time. On that note, the Pfizer boosters are available at the VA hospitals now, I saw, and it looks like the Johnson & Johnson and Moderna boosters will be available soon also. All right. What else do we have going on here? What other kind of questions? All right. Oh, on the dental issue, if you are 100% service connected, I believe it's a permanent and total, you are able to get dental for that. All right. What other questions do we have here? I apologize. Answering questions on the live, it can be a little bit of a, sometimes information will get dropped off. So I just want to make sure that I'm getting everything out to you that I can that needs to be right and accurate. Here's another question about Gulf War presumptives. Once again, talk to a service officer, file them. As we saw with Agent Orange, if you keep filing and you keep on it, you will be able to receive it. It may not be today, and truly, I hope that it happens sooner, but keep applying. Keep filing appeals. Keep going all the way up the chain. All right. What other questions do we have here today? Hi, Kelsey. Hi, Hannah. Hi, Charlotte. For those of you who don't know, those are my daughters. They said hi to me. So I wanted to give them a shout out. They're 10, 9, and 8. And they're very proud of my service, but sometimes they don't understand it. They know that I was in the Army and they know that I'm in Amvets, but it's something that's tough for people to understand a lot of times. And especially young children that really don't have a scope of the sacrifices that have been made by veterans. So take the time to talk to them and give them the opportunity to ask questions. And that'll keep going further and further and further to help them. All right. Looking for more questions here. What do we got? All right, I got one coming in. Has there been any movement on the Veterans Benefit Enhancement and Expansion Act? Hold on. I have that right here. All right, that's Senate 4511. Currently, looks like currently it's sitting in the Committee for Veterans Affairs. And that's something that we can look into and we can get you further information on as it moves forward. I see it does have 8 co-sponsors. Senator Tillis, Senator Round, Senator Bozeman, Senator Dane, Senator Collins, Senator Lankford, Senator Rubio, and Senator, I'm going to mess this one up, Hoven from North Dakota. Please say thank you to them for their endorsements. This is great legislation that can truly help veterans. As I said before, if you have the opportunity to write a resolution for something that you feel that Amvets should truly be supporting, write it, send it to your department, have your department submit it for its convention, and then to have it passed and sent to national. That's the process that we are able to do this. And as the third vice, my guidance is received from the National Convention resolutions. And these things are truly pivotal in how we work. Because when we have a resolution, that gives us the ability to take the next steps to move forward, to push legislation, to support legislation, or in some cases, to vociferously fight things. That brings to mind right now, something was brought to us in the past week that there was a proposition to nationally look at tying prescription drug prices to the VA prices. I can't say how much that would hurt the Veterans Affairs. Prescription drug prices by the VA, because it is the largest healthcare system in the United States. We have to work hard to maintain the ability to provide prescriptions for veterans. If we're not, then there's really, if you get the prescriptions that you need, you will be in better health. So the ability to get those affordable allows them to supply more funding for other programs. All right. All right. One of the questions that was sent here, what are a few differences between the Prevents Executive Order and the John Scott Act? I do not have the exact information on that right now. But what I can do is have it researched and we can get it up on the website so that we can make sure that you have the best and most accurate information. All right. We have any more questions out there? All right. I am not seeing any more questions that I have the ability to answer right this second. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, please keep putting your questions in the comment section here. Okay. Even when the video is not going, keep putting comments on there so that we can get back to you with those information. We can then take it, we can send you an email, or you can email here at headquarters and we can get an answer out to you as soon as possible. We don't want to leave anything that you want to know legislatively just out there to float. So please feel free to give us an email, give us a call here at National Headquarters. Whatever you need to do, we will get you an answer as soon as possible. If you put a question down the bottom, you will receive something within the next week. So I also want to say thank you to a few people for helping out today. Thank you to Miles, our National Communications Director. Thank you to Commander Hune for giving me the opportunity to get on the Ask Amvets section today. Thank you to our great lobbyists, Justin and Madison at the Nimitz Group. They're the ones that are out there fighting that fight every single day for us on Capitol Hill. And thank you to the Executive Director, Joe Shinelli, for helping us to keep these things going on a good basis. If there's anybody else I haven't mentioned directly, thank you so much for all your support and all the help that you do to help Ambets be the best that we can on Capitol Hill to promote this legislation. Remember, Rolling to Remember is May 29th. That is the largest motorcycle demonstration on Earth. Let's let those congressmen hear the thundering engines from those bikes. Let them know that we will not let them rest until everybody is home, and that every single veteran contemplating suicide gets the help that they need. With that being said, I want to say thank you for the opportunity tonight. I'm going to sign off, but please remember to add any more questions so that we can get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you, and have a good night.